aka the Texas Trash Talker, coming at you from Austin. I'm your zero waste expert and recycling nerd of 20 years. Today, we're going to go over a zero waste 101 for businesses to help you understand kind of where to start and what are some of the key practices to get you going. And I would love to take your comments and your questions in the chat or, in the comment section, wherever you're joining me from, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever. But if you're a business owner or manager and you've got properties that you need to take care of, maybe it's your restaurant, maybe it's a medical facility, an apartment complex, these are going to be some key money-saving strategies for your business that you can implement. So we should go ahead and get started. And I have a quick slide presentation for you so that you can understand these concepts just a little bit better with the visuals that I will present. So let me switch that on over. Alrighty, so here is our Zero Waste 101. I'm presenting this through Zero Waste Strategies. This is my company. We've been around since 2013, so we're going on year 11. And we work with large corporations, governmental agencies, institutions to help them reduce their waste to landfill for increased revenue, deeper customer loyalty, to really empower employees and to drive a green marketing edge around your entire sustainability journey. And we specifically focus on zero waste and circular economy. So let's see here. Oh, there we go. So a little bit about me. I have a background in eco-activism. I was a door-to-door canvasser. If you watched my last video yesterday, you'll see that I was a canvasser for a Texas statewide nonprofit on environmental issues. And we went door to door. I probably knocked on, I don't know how many tens of thousands of doors in my lifetime. I was with that organization for 9 years. And we did some really great work around passing legislation at the statewide level to get computer recycling and TV recycling take back policies on the books here in Texas. And for the Austin area, I helped pass local ordinances around recycling, such as curbside composting, business recycling, construction and demolition waste debris recycling. And I was also a co-host on Shades of Green on KOOP 91.7 FM here in Austin for about 5 years. It's a weekly live green radio talk show. They're still going strong. So if you want to tune in either on the radio or online, they do live streaming, I believe, as well as podcasts. You can go back and look at archived station shows. So I had the pleasure of interviewing dozens and dozens of local activists, as well as nonprofit leaders and government agency officials as well. I'm also the co-founder of the Austin Zero Waste Alliance back in, I believe, 2009, 2010, so way back. And that was a nonprofit watchdog organization to help the city of Austin get its zero waste policies into place, as well as keeping in alignment with the protocols of the global zero waste movement. I was also appointed to the City Council's Zero Waste Advisory Commission by my then City Council member, and served 2 years on that board. And now I'm a sitting board member of the State of Texas Alliance for Recycling, or what we call STAR. You can go to recyclingstar.org to take a look at the membership packages and what we're doing as an organization for advancing recycling and legislative policy in the state of Texas. So Next, you'll see just a couple of the companies that we've been able to partner with and work with and helping them drive that waste reduction, help them on their waste reduction journey. And some of these names might be recognizable to you, but we also work with small mom and pops as well. So if your business creates waste, we can probably help you reduce that waste to landfill. So really, let's go over the topic of what is zero waste. So zero waste is really a global movement, and it's full of business efficiencies. It's based on business efficiency concepts, and it dictates 90% or more waste reduction from landfills and incinerators. The 2040 date that was, kind of a statement. Yes, 2040 is the date we want to get to 90%, but I think it's going to take a little bit longer than that. So, it requires education and habit change for millions and millions of people across the world. So, there's a lot of work to do on this, but you can see government agencies, corporate commitments, school campuses, nonprofits, and even the conferences that you attend with your business are committing to these zero waste concepts and implementing them into their operation as well. So why is zero waste important? Well, this is one question that we get a lot, and it's because landfills are one of the top 5 greenhouse gas emitters. If you think about all of the putrescible kind of organic waste, food waste, yard waste that goes into landfills, it rots, decomposes, and puts off methane and carbon dioxide. Also, there's just a much better way to handle our material resources rather than just burying them in a landfill or burning them at an incinerator. So if you think about it, the materials that you do recycle and you roll out to your curb for recycling or for pickup, or you put in the recycling dumpster at your place of business, or any materials that you put in the trash, we call this the waste berg, because what you roll out is just the very tip. All of what's underneath the water line here, as you can see in the illustration, for every pound of materials that are carted out, picked up, and hauled away, there's about 71 pounds upstream that created that 1 pound of materials. So we really need to think about more responsible ways to manage our materials and really shift our thinking around the words trash. We're really talking about highly valuable commodities on the materials market: cardboard, metals, paper, sometimes plastic, glass, and even the food waste that we can use to create soil amendments that are very nutrient dense and vitamin rich to grow our crops as compost. So, you've heard of the 3 R's, but there's more like 9 R's. And that would start with refusal of waste. So not even accepting a business's waste, not accepting bringing it into your own home or office. Then comes reduction, right? Reuse. Repair is another one that we don't think of a lot of times. And we'll talk about that, repair versus replace later on in the presentation. But remanufacturing and refabrication are really great ways that businesses can use materials that have already been mined from raw materials extraction from the earth, refined at a refinery, and then made into a new product. You can forego a lot of those previous system operations through extraction and refining to just using the products that were already extracted and refined, and just reusing them and making them into new products, refabricating them and remanufacturing them. Resoiling, we talked about just a moment ago, as far as composting, and upcycling, donations of valuable materials, even getting to food donations that are legal here in the US. if kept to proper time and temperature standards through your state's health department, and working with the nonprofit organizations that redistribute food for as their mission, right? And then at the bottom, you've got your recycling. It's really the recycling is the last step before landfilling and incineration. If you think about all these concepts in an inverted triangle like this, where landfilling and incineration is the very bottom, the point. You've got the large piece up here where the top is for the refusal, reduction, reuse, repair, remanufacturing. You've got all those re's in between, so we can handle our materials in a lot more responsible manner rather than just kicking the can down the road, the recyclable can down the road and putting everything in a recycling bin. Having a lot more thought further upstream of how can we reuse materials, how can we repair over replace, and really think about how we're handling these materials within your business structure. And a lot of these practices can be taken, to the home space, the home environment as well. Rethinking how you are using materials within your home is a really great way to kind of keep that habit going. So next, really want to focus on kind of the importance of zero waste whenever it comes to the economy. Now, you've heard of the 3 Ps, of course: people, planet, profit, but I like to expand this more into 5 Ps, which would be the purpose of what you're doing, getting your employees behind you on these very altruistic kind of strategies, and to also really build your credibility as a green business for your consumers, your investors, and your shareholders. So that's kind of the purpose around why you're doing this, is to really prop your business up as a leader in your industry so that you become the kind of go-to brand for sustainability in your industry, and that your customers can trust you. So really putting that purpose out there. And then another P for me is policy. Like I mentioned earlier, we had a big hand in policy around statewide legislation here in Texas, Austin-based local ordinances for recycling here. But if your state doesn't have recycling policies, or they're kind of minimal, then that behooves your company to take a strong stance within your company's organization and your operational efficiencies to put your own policies into place. And zero waste really is part of a larger piece called the circular economy. So we really want to use zero waste as creating jobs in the local area. So if we can keep materials local, we can support local job creation and local tax base expansion. We can support the local tax base. So again, whenever I'm talking about building, out the local materials markets, if you've got a company that is a glass recycler in the local area, and you need glass to put in, maybe some other kind of product, that way you're not losing money in the transportation piece of it. Transportation is where you're going to lose a lot of your profit. Unfortunately, some of this stuff is really heavy and very bulky. So if we can keep things local, and we can push local job market development using the recyclable materials and the materials that can be used from recycled materials into new products, then I think that is a great way to not only promote zero waste at the local level, but also get your residents involved, your businesses involved, to really make it a collective effort. And it definitely saves money. Again, we're talking about operational efficiencies. This is one of the lowest hanging fruits of any business operational efficiency, is to reduce your waste. Why? Because you can alter your contracts with your hauler. You can, decrease your capacity and your frequency of pickup, and the size of the bins that you have outdoors, and you can save money there. Any money that you save over here with waste reduction, you can actually funnel into your recycling and food waste diversion programs and your education for your staff as well. So even if you don't make a revenue stream, you can at least come out a little bit more, even keeled there. You don't exactly have to spend money. You may or may not make money, but that depends on other strategies, such as, are you selling your recyclables, or are you paying a hauler to come pick them up? If you've got a cardboard baler and you can get huge 1-ton blocks of folded cardboard, and you can sell that to the highest bidder, great. That is a great way to introduce a new revenue stream for your business. But some businesses don't have enough cardboard in order to justify the cost of renting a baler or buying a used or new baler. So it just depends on what your budget looks like, where you can save money, but also where you can produce a new revenue stream. Of course, saving energy is always important, and reducing your greenhouse gas emissions. Remember, we had just mentioned that landfills are in the top 5 of greenhouse gas emissions for methane and carbon dioxide. I don't know about y'all, but in Texas, we have almost 200 active landfills, and we take in trash from other states as well. So our landfill tipping fees also are very, very cheap. So it helps the haulers quite a bit to have such low tipping fees, and to bring in as much trash as possible that has not been properly sorted, so that they can just dump it. And those landfills are doing just fine. But there are a lot of materials out there that should be sorted and captured so that they can be recycled into these new products. And don't we want to save landfill space? Any state that you live in, don't we want to save that landfill space so that we don't have to dig new holes in the ground, so that we don't have to put new taxpayer dollars into these new facilities? So the more landfill space that we can save, the better. And again, it provides your industry with green marketing opportunities, so that you can edge out the competition in your industry, so that you can really tell your green storytelling strategy and help put that into your social media, on your website, help recruit new top tier talent. And that also helps you pull in new shareholders and investors. Keep in mind, investors usually rank environmental, social, governance policies as one of the top 5 indicators of whether they will invest in your business or not. So if you don't have ESG policies in your business just yet, it would be a really good idea to strategize on that and incorporate zero waste as one of those kind of low-hanging fruits of operational efficiency. So the next slide here is, again, why is zero waste important? We talked about jobs, but we really didn't go into it just yet, but I want to really highlight the job creation piece of this. If you have, and this is from the EPA's website, if you've got, say, 10,000 tons of waste, it takes one person to push a button on a truck to let it lift the hydraulics and everything slide out, and it just goes into the landfill, right? If you're going to burn or bury those materials, then it doesn't really take much effort. But if you take that same 10,000 tons of waste and you sort it properly, it really builds out a local job creation scheme to where we can really maximize the amount of tonnage that's coming in, and we can separate it out into composting, recycling, reuse. Just look at these job estimations for that tonnage. And we want green paying jobs that are green jobs that are well paying and produce dignity within that industry. If you'll look back at my 2 videos ago to my Labor Day video on Monday, I did a whole section on the worker rights in the waste industry that has been won and why we celebrate Labor Day and the very hazardous conditions that waste workers had to endure in the early 1900s before workers' rights were instilled and fought for and won through a major struggle in the labor movement. So we want jobs with dignity. Your trash person is not just the trash man, right? This person picks up the materials and they brings them to the proper facility and keeps our streets and our homes and our businesses clean. They've got a lot of due respect from our society, especially over the last 100 years, knowing where those waste workers came from in the business struggle. So next, let's go over some business tips in the zero waste realm. Did you know there was a survey of about 6,000 people that, and the business study is linked here. If you want this presentation, DM me or drop me a link in the drop me a comment in the chat to let me know, and I can send it on over to you. But it's linked here, this study, that 84% of consumers surveyed would prefer purchasing responsible products. And so putting your environmental policies at the forefront of your production, your retail, anything that you're doing within your business is going to be a real signal to your consumers as you're advertising what you're doing. And it allows your consumers to understand that you're demonstrating getting away from any semblance of greenwashing, right? So greenwashing is my company says one thing but does another, and these two hands, both sides of the mouth, they're not connecting. They're not doing what they're saying they're going to do. So it's really important to be able to demonstrate that to your customers through your green storytelling. So a couple of things to look at is your procurement department. What do your vendor contracts state? Are your vendor contracts have clauses in there for environmental sustainability? Are you able to make bulk purchases for, let's say, an entire floor or an entire department? Do you have one central purchasing location for your business that everybody can put their requests into, so that you can have a buying pool that gives you collective bargaining power from all your departments? So those are some things to look at. Make sure that your vendor contracts are on the up and up. And what I mean by that is this next point here, your supply chain management. Are your materials responsibly sourced? Have you vetted upstream and downstream your vendors and suppliers? Are they employing child labor? Are they using deforestation practices? So it's important to not have your business name tied to anything around those unethical practices, so that none of this comes back to bite you, right, as a company. There's another piece to this, which would be called the EPPP. And what that stands for, and it's a whole mouthful, environmentally preferable purchasing practices. Sorry. And this is on the EPA's website as well. It's an entire guidebook on how to make environmentally preferable purchasing. And this is something that you can put into your employee policies, whoever's in your procurement department, your purchasing department, so that they can understand what the standards are for your business and what standards that the companies that you're purchasing from should meet. Another thing to look at is your facilities department, talking to your janitorial crew, talking to the maintenance crew, your facility crew, and making sure that your hauling contracts are actually right-sized for your specific business needs. Unfortunately, a lot of haulers will bring in several dumpsters. They'll leave them on your property. They say, here's your bill, pay it every month. It's kind of an arbitrary number. They don't know exactly how much waste or recyclable materials coming out of the back end of your operation. They're just giving you a dumpster that's big enough to hold the anticipated amount. So if you're not right sizing your contracts, then you're paying the hauler to cart air off your property. So one thing that you can do is to track your waste fill levels on a weekly basis, kind of right before the hauler gets there. Have someone actually go throughout your property, lift the lids of all the dumpsters and take note on a clipboard or, on a spreadsheet or wherever to track that and to make sure that your dumpsters are full every time whenever the hauler comes and picks them up. You don't want 25, 50, 75%, because if you do, again, you're paying for a service that you're not using. One other thing to look at is, what are your policies on repairing versus replacing? So one company that we worked with in St. Louis, a very, very large pet care brand, pet food manufacturer, they have an entire building on their property that was for repair only. And so you could put in work orders for a broken caster on your office chair, or a broken microwave, or a broken coffee maker, or a broken refrigerator in your kitchenette, or this printer is on the brink of dying, can you help me out? So they had an entire department focused on had key maintenance managers that would repair office items instead of having the company buy new. And to me, that was just a brilliant kind of genius idea. This is, way back in, when was that, like 2014, 2015? But it's another great way businesses can reuse and recycle their office products, so that you don't have to go out and purchase new stuff. So another thing to be cognizant of is, what programs do you offer in the interior of your business? Do you provide trash only? Is it trash and recycling? Do you have the 3-bin system for trash, recycling, and composting? And if you do, are they properly color coded? So the vast majority of the time, green would indicate compost for all your food waste. Blue would indicate recycling, and black or gray usually indicates the landfill trash or your garbage. So not only that, do you have signage indicating what is allowed and what is not allowed in each of those bins? Let's remember that cross-contamination causes the assessment of fees from the hauler. So if you have cross-contamination and they have to deal with, soda cans in your composting stream, you're probably going to get a fee attached to your next statement. So what are you doing in order to make sure that cross-contamination is not happening? And a lot of that comes from having the proper signage and the color coding in place, but also doing the education as well. It's really important too to be aware of the personal habits and what materials are being brought in to the workplace from outside your property, outside your facility. So do you have that one particular employee on floor number 4 that is a huge yogurt fan and always puts their yogurt cups in the trash rather than in the recycling bin? Do you have someone who's a fast food connoisseur? Maybe they're a big Starbucks fan, and you've always got the coffee mugs in the wrong spot. So it's important to, when you do your education, to kind of highlight these particular items, because people will in their own mind be like, oh, that's probably mine. And they can start changing that behavior, right? If you take photos and you can pass them around through email, not pointing anybody out, right? to call them out, but hey, if this looks familiar, it's in the wrong bin, so make sure you put it in this bin instead. Food waste does not go here, or trash does not go into the recycling bin. This is what we found yesterday. So sending a series of pictures through email to all your employees so that it is made loud and clear that contamination is not acceptable and people need to follow the signage. And if you do this on a regular basis, people start to change their habits. It stays front of mind for them. And so another way that employees can be zero waste at work is through that kind of annual or even semi-annual training. I would say the more the better. If you can provide additional trainings outside of just an annual training is really, really critical to keeping those habits at the forefront. And another way to really set the expectation for new employees is to do this through your onboarding. Now, if there's paperwork that an employee needs to sign in order to become part of your personnel team, then one thing that you can do is have them sign a commitment to recycling and diverting food waste properly and not contaminating the other streams by crisscrossing, the incorrect materials. And that's a great leverage tool for managers who can use that to hold the employees accountable, right? Now, if you get a lot of takeout and delivery orders, you get catering. One thing to do with that, and employees can do this individually, they can, if they are doing an individual order or they're ordering for a group or whatnot, you can tell the person who is taking your order, or you can type it into the notes section whenever you do an online order, that we don't need any cutlery, so no single-use plastics is what you're sending the message here. No cutlery, no packets of condiments. You don't need any extra paper napkins. You don't need straws. Those kinds of things that would normally just be shoved into a takeout delivery bag. You can tell them, hey, we don't need it. We work in an office and we already have this stuff. So that's another way that employees can take pride in ownership of their own waste reduction in your business. And also, you can encourage them to bring their own basics whenever it comes to meals. They can bring, of course, a reusable water bottle, a cloth napkin, even a bamboo or stainless steel set of cutlery. Anything that you can encourage them to bring that's reusable is really quite a big change for people, but it's something that they'll feel really good about if you encourage that. You can even use that opportunity to put your logo on a water bottle or coffee mug, or the little case for the bamboo or steel cutlery set. Maybe it's the bag that people carry there. That's free advertising, right? If they bring that outside of the job and they bring it home and they wash it, and maybe they bring the little bag, or they bring the cutlery out to whenever they go out to eat, and they whip it out and they start eating with it, but it's got your logo on it. So that's a great way to send home the message: we're a zero waste facility and we are helping you cut down on your own waste that you bring into our facility as well. So one thing that is gaining a lot of steam is the true zero waste facility certification. Now, I'm sure you've heard of LEED, which is for energy and water conservation through the U.S. Green Building Council. This is kind of like LEED for waste. So TRUE is for zero waste facility certification, and it's also administered under the authority of the U.S. Green Building Council, just like LEED is. So we want to take the opportunity to mention that my company, Zero Waste Strategies, is qualified to administer the TRUE Zero Waste Facilities Certification Program. So we've taken we've got all the qualifications. So let's see. One thing that you'll want to investigate, kind of how your business can attain this TRUE Zero Waste Facility certification, is just reach out to me, right? DM me.
you can email me, call our phone number, whatever. But this is a great way to kind of set yourself apart. And I think only 350 projects around the world have been certified. So it's pretty likely in your industry that nobody is leading on this. And this is a great way to kind of elbow out that competition and put your foot forward in demonstrating your commitment to waste reduction, waste minimization in your industry by setting your company up to pass this certification process. And so what that includes is, doing a waste audit, which I'm telling you, 5-6 hours up to your elbows in trash recycling and food waste is quite a humbling experience. But we get down to the gum wrappers, y'all, and we weigh it, we sort it out, we weigh it, we catalog it, and we draft a report that is specific to your business and your waste stream, and provide the data analysis and the key observations and recommendations in order to improve your business's approaches to getting to zero waste. We provide the employee training. We do the filing submission for you, and we work with the true organization who employ the actual certifiers on their end to get you the certification award. And that's something that you can kind of shout through to the rooftops, that, press releases, your social media, getting that kind of stamp of approval on your website is really a great way to get the word out about your business's commitment on these issues. So my last question for all of you is, if we're not for zero waste, how much waste are we for? And if you do have any questions, you can contact me through my website, which is just zerowaste.org. You've got my phone number there. We're on all the socials, well, most of them. And you can just email me too, or like I said earlier, just send me a DM on LinkedIn or through our Facebook business page, Zero Waste Strategies, and find us on Twitter, find us on TikTok under Texas Trash Talker. That's me. And we're on Instagram as well at Zero Waste Strategies. So I'm hoping to speak with you guys on these types of topics and explore what our business can do for your business in reducing your waste, increasing revenue, deepening your customer loyalty, empowering your employees, as well as driving that green marketing edge. So if you would like to chat, go ahead and give me a ring or send me a message, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. All right, y'all, that is it for today. Find me tomorrow, and we'll be talking about a whole new topic in the zero waste realm for your